knife is fully submerged. Well, that should test whether or not it's water resistant or waterproof.
I took the sheath off of my belt after crossing the river. Now I'm going to check to see. How well it is at keeping moisture out, water, a river. And interesting. Fully submerged in that river, and the outer piece of paper is completely dry. Wow. You know, I am impressed with that. So that of course means that the cardboard inside here is going to be completely dry as well, which it of course is. Yeah, I thought for sure that this was going to be the one that we were going to be taking a look at, because I thought for sure that this was going to be wet. It is completely dry, and it was wrapped around from top to bottom and even underneath like this in there. So
Here I am doing a river crossing to test the Kizlyar Supreme Survivalist X knives, water resistance in the hollow handle. That, by the way, it looks like the river is flowing from left to right, but in fact the river is flowing from right to left, and the wind is causing the water to appear as though the right of the stream is downstream. I was kind of hoping the sun was going to shine today, but as you can see, it's overcast. On the northern California coast, this here the Mad River. Feels nice once you get used to it. Let's try not to focus too much on my big fat belly. And let's just look at the knife.
just going to dry the top of this a little bit. And open it up. Check the vial. For water resistance. There's no water inside. The oil on the outside from the interior is there, but you can see that this cardboard has remained dry. Water resistance test for the Kizlyar Supreme Survivalist X is good enough for me. So I just crossed that river with this knife, and it's important to keep your knives dry and the blades treated. You can see some moisture on here. I'm going to dry that off real quick. There, it's dried,
And in addition to ensuring that it's dried, because there might yet be some moisture yet in the sheath, in the liner here, I'm going to show you a product that I use. It's called Sentry Marine Tough Cloth, and it's essentially some mineral oil, but in this package is provided a microfiber cloth that makes it very easy to simply apply this to the blade. And it's not so integral up here where the titanium coating is, but down here where the blade is exposed, it's a good idea to keep these surfaces treated, covered with mineral oil. This product is this actual item that I have right here, several years old, so it's kind of, no, it's still quite very moist. You can see it on my fingers, very moist. So yeah, this is a good idea to have one of these. And this is really good stuff. Cleans, prevents rust, lubricates for extreme conditions in storage. Now that it's protected, I feel okay putting it back into the sheath, traveling with it. So here's this knife. Kizlyar Supreme. Survivalist X. This back edge right here, it's not sharp, but it's beveled so that you can hack through different things without dulling the very sharp blade. Things like bone, pieces of wood. Whacking through things like that, clearing a path. You don't necessarily want to dull your blade on these things, and that's why, they have that on there. This stuff's all really dry. Well, this is alive, but these other lower branches are dry. And it's very easy to sort of clear a path at the back of this thing. Debarking. Take this. Normally I would just use the blade, but this has this function, so why dull the blade, right? A lot of this dry stuff is just hacked away with anything. So I'm going to find some more challenging materials for this, for the back of this blade. The spine here, the beveled spine.
using this backside. This handle is a little slippery when sweaty. This lanyard is helping me to maintain a grip on it as my hand slides down. Knocking the camera over. This is redwood, so it's not exactly the hardest wood, but I'm just trying to give this handle connection a test, trying to get it to show any signs of weakness, and it hasn't shown any sign of weakness so far. It's very sharp, very strong, and very sturdy connection in here. There's no play whatsoever. Just eating through this wood. Yeah. This back bevel here, it's not exactly sharp, but it bites in relatively well. Does a pretty good job. It's saving a lot of wear and tear on the blade. It's a good idea here. Right here in front of the beveled edge, right here, is this flat surface that is obviously intended for batoning through a piece of wood, such as this one right here. Placing the blade here and hitting this other piece of wood on the flat surface.
Lower the camera angle a little bit so you can see this piece of wood actually goes down quite far. Gotten through all this so far. Batoned all the way from the top, all the way down to here. I'm going to continue. Once again, hitting on this flat surface. Pretty useful. Some pretty long pieces right here. This is freshly cut alder, so it's wet. You can see the moisture on the blade. Not a very hard wood, but not dry either. It's got nice grain, so it was relatively easy to baton through. But this flat surface right here most definitely did give me an advantage in terms of a place to put a significant amount of force and driving this quickly through this 4-inch piece of alder. Dry piece of redwood, I just want to show you what it looks like after using it to baton through this piece of alder by hitting it right here. It's a nice, strong, dry piece of redwood, and this flat surface right here, of course I wasn't always hitting it here, but this is spreading out the energy significantly, driving a lot of force quickly through this log. Nice feature they put on here, along with this beveled edge, which takes a lot of the abuse when you would otherwise be restricted to using the sharp blade. One of the main reasons why the survival knife is the most useful, a knife is the most useful all-around survival tool, is because of its ability to make other tools. For example, when it comes to the first survival priority, security, with a knife, you can defend yourself with a knife, but you can also make other tools to defend yourself with, such as a spear. quickly brings this piece of alder, this green alder, to a nice sharpened edge. Use as a spear. Now, because I had the one most useful survival tool, I have two means of security, and also a means of procuring food with this spear. Who wants to come up against me with this? No one. Another nice thing about this knife is the round handle. And it's round because it's hollow, but there's also a nice thing you can do with it. In case you ever need to drill a hole or make an indentation, rather than going like this with the knife, which can take a long time, you can do this. Makes it a lot easier having this round. Whether you're drilling this out for a baseboard for a bow drill, or just because you need a hole. You can see I'm getting right down in here with this tip. It's very strong. This D2 steel, this tool steel, hasn't caused this to chip or break in any way. It's very thick throughout as well. And still, after all this abuse, there's no play. This point at which the hollow handle secures to the blade is still perfectly intact and secure. See that tree right there? The tip of that tree right there? Yep. You guessed it. Nope, just kidding. But every test that I've put this Kizlyar Supreme Survivalist X D2 steel hollow-handled survival knife through, it has performed excellently, without flaw. And any task that I can imagine ever needing a hollow-handled survival knife for, this Kizlyar Supreme Survivalist X D2 steel, once again, I fully recommend. The hollow handle has performed beyond any reasonable expectation of water resistance. I have crossed 2 rivers with it, and the contents remained dry. If you are considering a hollow-handled survival knife, I'm fully recommending this knife. The blade edge itself has retained its sharpness. I don't know what else to say about it other than thank you, Kizlyar Supreme, for making this a top quality hollow handle survival knife when the market has been so inundated with cheapo versions. You have really come through with an excellent survival knife that has been able to handle every task I've thrown at it, and that I'm sure would be able to handle just as efficiently and durably any other task that I might require of a survival knife. That it's a hollow-handled knife as well, it makes it all that much more better. We've seen what Kizlyar Supreme Survivalist X can do in nature with wood and whatnot. Well, let's say you come across an empty can like this and you want to make a stove out of it or something. How well does this knife perform in that respect? can see that it has marked up the coating a little bit, but it is easily cut through this. Not that you would ever have the need to, but since I had just finished lunch, I was just curious. So, once again, very sharp edge. It's not going to let you down. Hasn't let me down so far. And I've been testing it in every way that I can think of in terms of durability, efficacy, and versatility. Gets an A plus in my book. This is a great hollow handle knife. This is a great knife. Another thing I want to talk about on this sheath is, in addition to the belt loop, you have these snap Velcro straps that will make it easier to affix the knife to a backpack with a MOLLE panel such as this. It's a nice feature. You can see there's a little rust right here. I'll just point that out, since I had left this sheath wet for about 3 days after crossing a river just to test whether or not these things were going to rust. And most of them did not. There's no rust anywhere except for just a little surface rust on some of these snaps. These two right here in particular. And just a tiny bit right there. So, yeah, these snap on, and with Velcro. And also, you have down here this part, which is meant to thread underneath. These are supposed to interlace and alternate. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. So you have this kind of a pattern going on. Now I've found that these things, this webbing on the back of the sheath is very tight. So while it's easy to get it through under here, because they have a little play on the backpack, when I get to this point where it's time to go through under here, because this is just a piece of webbing with some Velcro, it's not really, I mean, it can be done easily enough, but it's not really very quick in comparison to some of the other options that are available. I mean, it'll work. And then this way, and it works good. But I want to show you a product that makes this process a whole lot easier after I finish showing you how to do it with this. So basically, they're interwoven, and we can go through one more time down this way, I suppose, because there's a Velcro patch right here. And attach it. Now it's attached to the backpack pretty good. And that works. It's easy enough to remove, as you can see. I like this option with the snaps, although, once again, there's a little rust there from prolonged wetness. After about 2 days of this sheath constantly being wet, there's a little rust. There's a little rust right there too as well. In there. That works, but I just wanted to show the viewers this product. It's called the Malice Clip, and it's made by a company, Tactical Tailor, and it's a rubberized, flexible, plasticky sort of accessory that makes threading so much easier. I believe this is the short version, but basically you can use it as simply or as you know, you can do it the right way and you can do it the wrong way, and it works. That's the beauty of this product, is that you can do the whole threading thing, where you're threading alternately, weaving through here and then back through this one as well. And that'll work, although on this knife it's a little tight, but you can see it still works, right? What I'm gonna do is just run it through like this. And that's that. And it just slips in the end here. And it little locks in, and you can see that when it pokes out the other side like this, it's locked in. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere, and these things are very easy to remove. There's a little raised tab. Some people might use a screwdriver. I can't really get my fingernails under there, so I've just always used the flat screwdriver of my Swiss Army knife. Get it right under there, pull it out, it's free. These things work great. Malice clips. Another thing I wanted to show you, and I've shown you this before, is this tough cloth. There's different ways to carry the tough cloth. One is, of course, in this packaging, but since this is intended to maintain the knife, I want to see it somewhere here. And I was thinking, what a great way to carry it. I'll just snap these back so they're not flopping around. Great way to carry it. Since this is a hollow handle knife, and we know that it's water resistant, I have this on here pretty tight. Perhaps to carry it inside of the hollow handle. And having this sort of thing on a dedicated kit right here next to, or, you know, rather than the paracord. Similarly, I have this other knife here, and I have a sort of kit attached to the sheath. It's kind of jury-rigged in here, but basically what I have going on, if I can figure out how I did this. Okay, there we go. It's loosened enough. I think that was the whole idea. Well, I have this survival kit in here. Now, I know that Kizlyar has their own survival kit, which hopefully I will be reviewing very soon, and they intend it for it to attach to the sheath, but I'm reaching into here just to grab this one item, just to show you this. This is how I carry this. This is a tough cloth in a plastic bottle before it's blown up by the manufacturers into like a Pepsi bottle or a 2-liter Mountain Dew bottle or something like that. So I have something like that in here. I have one of these tough cloths in here, as you can see. It just fits nicely in there. And it goes into that pouch on the other sheath. Now I was thinking, if I were to take this out and to stuff it, it probably wouldn't all fit. I don't think it would all fit in here. But if I were to cut this down and to stuff this cloth inside here and just keep it in there, it would keep this moist with oil inside and also have a good place to store this, because this is kind of awkward to carry around. You know, it's big, takes up a lot of room. You can see it takes up like most of the space in this kit here. So that's just an idea. That's just an idea I wanted to share. It's a possibility. Another thing I wanted to show was another test for the knife itself, for the blade, not for the sharpened part, but for the beveled edge here. We can see that we've seen that this does a great job in, you know, removing bark and whatnot and sparing a lot of heavy abuse on the sharp blade. Yeah, so I just wanted to see how easily I could get shavings from this magnesium bar here with the bevel, if even at all. Now, magnesium is a pretty soft material, and I can tell you right now that it's doing a really good job. You don't need much for this sort of thing. I would collect much more than that, but you can see that it is working to scrape the magnesium. More importantly, and I'm doing this because, once again, these are accessories that a lot of guys will carry in their survival kit. More importantly than the magnesium, because not everybody carries magnesium in their survival kit, but most people do carry a ferrocerium rod. More importantly, I want to see how easily this bevel will work to produce that spark. This is a brand new one. I haven't used it before, so it's going to have its coating still on here. Which I'm going to just scrape away like that. Once I found the little angle here, it produces sparks. Sorry about the noise. But as you can see, it's producing sparks. And once I get down past this coating, you can see it produces them better. So that's good, because that would really, if I had to use the blade for that, that would really dull the blade really, really very quickly. So I'm happy with that. Let's see. It's not the best striker in the world, but as you can see, it works. It works well. Alright, the next thing I wanted to do was to, because this blade coating, while it's very tough, it's got a lot of staining on here, and from the wood I've been chopping through, and also from the aluminum can that I did cut through, left sort of all this markings, and I just want to go ahead and see whether or not that went into the coating or if it's just surface blemishing. And I'm going to see if I can remove some of that surface blemishing with this 91% isopropyl alcohol on a rag. So I'll just put some on there and moisten it up quite a bit. Then see if I can get some of these lines to come up. I'm pretty sure that they're just extra and not, in fact, eating away into the coating. And it looks like, yeah, I did get him to come up a little bit, and that's just what I wanted to see from the coating. I'm not sure if this isopropyl is actually removing the coating as well. It's kind of black. Looks like it might be, and of course I'm never going to suggest that somebody clean their knives with isopropyl alcohol. I'm just doing this just because this is an actual review where I'm just trying to see, I'm pushing these things to the limit. I'm pushing to the limit all this stuff. So, let's try over here. There's some good, you can see it right along here pretty well, but I'll try this side right here. There's a lot of discoloration right there, as you can see right there. So I'll just try that. Now this black might in fact be part of the coating coming up, and I'm not too worried about it, but I just want to test it. Yeah. So it looks like, I can't really tell if the isopropyl is taking the coating away, but it is lifting the markings from the can. It is doing that. Anyway, this knife is proven to be very durable, very tough. Well, according to my 3 criteria, as I may or may not have stated in more or less detail before, my 3 criteria for a survival tool are 1, durability, 2, efficacy, and 3, versatility. This D2 steel is very durable. The construction is very durable. I've whacked away at various different woods with this, and there is no play, no loosening whatsoever. It's very efficacious. I ate through those woods very, very easily with this blade. It was very sharp, and it's still very sharp. It's not requiring any sharpening whatsoever. And it's very versatile as well, obviously because it has a hollow handle, but also because of this bevel on the back, which is very, very useful. And it's even got some, grommet holes in case I wanted to attach various, different ways with a lanyard or whatnot. I don't intend to. Apart from what I've already mentioned about the few things that, could be improved on the sheath, most importantly, I'll just go ahead and reiterate the drainage hole here. I would think that would be the most important one. Would be that I would want to say that if there's any way at all to keep, because when the grip gets sweaty or wet, this wants to slide. I can grip down pretty hard, but when I'm whacking away at the wood, after a minute or two, it's wanting to slide, and it's a good thing because I notice that I'm getting down here where the lanyard is really the only thing that's keeping my grip very solid on this knife, and it helps a lot. So the lanyard, of course, is something that is meant to be added. There's the hole, but I was putting it through its paces pretty hard and pretty quick, and so, you know, I was losing my grip a little bit. The lanyard eliminated any possibility of my hurting myself or dropping the knife, but with knives that are intended to be used heavily in brush, there's usually some kind of curvature here so that you're not going to lose your grip on the knife as easily. You see, the forces aren't going to, they're going to stop right there. There's a little bit of that going on with the cap, but not much. I'm still easily sliding past the cap. But anyway, these are just some things to think about, and I had a really great time putting this knife through the paces, and I'm glad I have it. And thank you, Kizlyar Supreme, for making a great hollow-handled knife when the market has been so inundated over the years with complete useless garbage. You have something here that actually passes all my tests, and for what I deem to be a good survival knife, and in addition, the extra functionality of the hollow handle, which does not compromise the efficacy or the durability of this survival knife at all, really only increases its versatility, and I'm very pleased with it. Thank you very much. I should really be saying this face to face to the camera, but I'm very pleased, and thank you very much for, you know, this opportunity to review this great knife, and I'm glad I found you guys.